Question: what do you get when you take the core creative team behind Top Gun Maverick, including director Joseph Kosinski, producer Jerry Bruckheimer, screenwriter Aaron Kruger, cinematographer Claudio Miranda, and musical composer Hans Zimmer? Lose Tom Cruise, gain Brad Pitt, throw in some more movie talent, replace naval aviation with Formula One racing, take the groundbreaking camera technology that you developed for filming on supersonic jets, shrink it down even more, strap a bunch of them onto Formula One race cars, and then film on location around the world throughout a year and a half of the Formula One season. The answer, of course, is that you get the summer 2025 blockbuster F1, Apple Original Films' first legitimate in-theater hit. Sure to disappoint moviegoers who are expecting a film about really weak tornadoes, F1 is a fast-paced Formula One sports movie that is fun, dramatic, and somewhat surprisingly, even funny. In this movie, Javier Bardem, best known for playing the sadistic psychopath Anton Chigurh in No Country for Old Men, and let's face it, it's hard to look at Javier without thinking of Anton. Anyway, Javier is playing Ruben, owner of the APX GP Formula One racing team. Only problems are, A, Ruben's massively in debt, B, the team's in last place, C, they're in desperate need of a second driver, and D, if somebody doesn't win something soon, Ruben's going to lose the team and everybody else is going to be fired. Lucky for Ruben, he has an old friend in the form of Brad Pitt, also known as Sonny Hayes. Now there's a fictional name for you. Sonny was a one-time Formula One phenom whose future was tragically cut short when a crash ended his Formula One career before it even began. Now, 3 marriages, a lot of gambling debt, and 3 decades later, Sonny is a nomadic hired gun driver who wanders the U.S., winning races wherever he can. With the help of a diner waitress, Ruben convinces Sonny to drive for his team. Soon after, Sonny, despite his obvious talent and years of accumulated wisdom, clashes with just about everybody, but in a likable Brad Pitt kind of way. Of course, his most extreme conflict is reserved for the other APX GP driver, a young, overconfident hotshot named Joshua Pierce, played by Damson Idris, who is sometimes a teammate but always a rival. Will the APX GP team win something, anything? Will Ruben lose the team? Will Joshua learn to respect Sonny? Will Sonny appreciate Joshua's talent? Will Sonny get with the APX GP team's technical director, Kate? Will Joshua and Sonny cross the finish line of a Grand Prix race at exactly the same moment, becoming the first 2 people in Formula One history to ever tie? Will Ruben flip a coin and kill the entire APX GP team? What's the real meaning of life? So many questions, all guaranteed to be answered by the movie F1. F1 is a well-written, well-directed summer blockbuster. Brad Pitt delivers as he always does. It's easy to empathize with this tortured character who's trying to make the best out of what his life has become, all the while learning more about himself and helping others to reach their potential. Sports movies are hard to do well because the expectations are usually pretty obvious, and therefore it's hard not to be predictable. There is some level of predictability here, but the movie manages it pretty well, and the ongoing rivalry between Sonny and Joshua adds an extra layer of depth to the plot. The movie does have a little bit of a Moneyball type vibe to it. Brad Pitt playing a one-time star-to-be who never really realized his true potential and is now trying to guide a bottom-of-the-barrel sports team to some level of success through his elder statesman wisdom. Or maybe it's just me. I mean, I really did love Moneyball, so any similarity there is certainly a good thing in my opinion. Damson Idris does a really good job playing Joshua Pierce, or JP as Sonny sometimes calls him. The idea that he's a young, cocky, talented driver who hasn't quite learned to appreciate the people around him comes across as very believable and authentic. Sarah Niles, who plays Joshua's mom, provides a nice counterpoint as the sort of one real grounding force in his life. And she also has some pretty funny lines. The other supporting characters are all good, especially Javier Bardem as Ruben, and also Kerry Condon as Kate, the obsessed technical director and possible love interest of Sonny Hayes. Apart from the drama that's involved with the APXGP team, both internally and also in terms of its interactions with other teams, as well as the Formula One governing organization, you also get a sense of what's involved with trying to succeed as a Formula One team. Nowadays, it's a world of strange extremes. You have so much complexity, simulators, computer-aided design, high-tech monitoring, real-time analysis, so on and so forth. But it's all being applied toward a goal that is so simple. Just go faster than anybody else. You get the sense that to be successful, you have to be a little bit obsessed, and this type of obsession is unusual and possibly at times a little bit unhealthy. On the musical front, F1 has a bit of a split personality. It very clearly starts out in the world of classic rock. I had originally assumed that this was because of Formula One demographics and that the whole movie would be this way. But a little bit later, it transitions to more modern music. I think this is being done to mirror the generational conflict between Sonny and Joshua, which makes sense, I guess. But because of that, musically, you probably won't like everything, but you probably will like something. As mentioned earlier, there's also a fair amount of comedy that's thrown in for good measure. And in general, comedy is done very well. There may have been a joke or two that didn't really land, but all in all, the movie is genuinely funny at times, which is something that I wasn't really expecting going in. This is not to say that F1 is a perfect movie. Some of the racing strategy felt a little bit contrived to me. Now, maybe this is because I just don't have any experience with Formula One. And I should also point out that 7-time Formula One world champion Lewis Hamilton was brought on to the movie as a consultant and a producer. And one of the main things that he was doing was ensuring the realism of the movie. So I understand that in many ways this is a realistic Formula One movie. But nevertheless, I felt the way I felt. And then somewhat related to that, the announcer that is making announcements during the race felt a little bit unrealistic to me. You could kind of tell that this was being done to sort of advance the story and explain some of the story development. But nevertheless, it kind of became distracting because of sort of the lack of realism. And finally, I also felt that the writers, Kosinski and Kruger, were probably trying to do a little bit too much with the Sonny character and maybe one of the later subplots. In my mind, the ideal version of this movie is pretty straightforward. You just need a reasonably good story, and then take the camera technology and put it on the Formula One cars, which are actually Formula 2 cars that look like Formula One cars, and go have some fun. Now, having said all that, these are all pretty minor criticisms. In the end, the movie works, and it works really well. And again, this movie was made by the core creative team behind Top Gun Maverick. So, if you like Top Gun Maverick, you're likely going to find a lot to like about F1. In summary, F1 is worth your time, and I give it a rating of 4 out of 5 stars. So, there you have it. If you haven't seen F1 already, I would encourage you to go see it. If you have seen F1, let me know what you think about it in the comments below. If you're still here, I appreciate you sticking around all the way to the very end. Please consider helping me out by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. And by the way, thank you for watching the very first MikeOnMedia movie review. Here's another video from the channel that I think you'll like. Otherwise, see you next time.